even when your friends are laughing at you, even when your mom is telling you, hey, you should probably not do that. It's just like, learn how to trust yourself. Yeah. That way, eventually, you don't have to ask for permission. You know what I mean? Yeah, it took me making a lot of mistakes to get to where I'm at today.
And here we are. Guys Being Dudes, episode 24. Thank you guys for tuning in and listening to Guys Being Dudes. You can find us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and of course, if you're a visual learner, then YouTube. But Luke, how's this Tuesday going for you, man?
You know, man, my day just got started. I can't complain. It's early.
It is early.
It's a little early.
It's cold.
But, you know, I was on my way here, and usually I have my music going to get me going, right?
Okay.
On podcast day, I have to put on my little, like, my playlist, right? It gets me going. But this time I didn't do it. I kind of forgot. I was just zoned out, just getting ready to get here.
You're that tired?
Nah, I don't think I just wasn't awake yet.
Oh, okay. You weren't awake.
Right? But I'm on my way here, and it's about 8 minutes to get here from, you know, my house to the barn.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm coming, and I'm listening to Bob and Tom show. I don't know if you guys are 97 The Fox, right?
Wow. You're listening to the radio. That's when I know you're out of your element. This dude never listens to the radio. Like, he is a music guru.
Yeah, so I'm listening to AM radio, Bob and Tom, or FM radio, sorry. And they just like, I didn't even recall what they were talking about, but I just noticed they're laughing, right?
Uh-huh.
And they keep laughing. The whole time I get here, they're still laughing.
No way.
And like, if you guys have listened to that show or anything, that's what they do. They just laugh about random shit. Yeah, all the time. It's hella funny. But like, I mean, they talk about shit, but they're always laughing. And then like, I get here and I'm like sitting, waiting in the car, and I'm like, I really didn't listen to anything but laughing. So I guess that's how my day's going. You know, start off the morning with a good laughter.
So you start off on a good note?
Yeah, I think so. Because I was just like, you know, it was just laughing the whole time.
Yeah.
Like, all right, we're going to have a great day.
Your face
get a good smile, you know, confusion. It got me going. So I guess that's where we're at.
No, that is where we're at. But no, today, episode 24. For those of you guys out there that have a passion and want to turn it into something, this is going to be the episode for you guys. Because, guys, we have the Iron Bully himself, Edgar Espino, man. How are you doing today?
I'm doing great, brother.
Yes.
How you guys doing?
No, we're doing great, man. We're doing great as well. Like we were saying, it's a little cold. It's early. Yeah. You know, appreciate you finding time to join us here today in the barn. Episode 24, man. We say it every week. I know we probably sound like a broken record, but dude, 24 weeks into this thing, man.
Yeah, it's crazy. It's
awesome. Like we were talking about before, you know, we just started, but you know, right now we're in the grind. Like we have been grinding this thing out, and it's honestly awesome. But like I said, we're truly excited for you to be here today. But let's start this one out with, tell us a little bit about yourself. Start there.
So guys, my name is Edgar Espino, as you already heard. And I started this clothing company by the name of Iron Bullies. I've been doing this going on 5 years. So it's definitely been a mission, you know. It gets me excited every time I drop something new or kind of add somebody new to the team, you know, or even get opportunities to do things as what we're doing right now, you know, and to hear this is your 24th week doing it, you know, I just want to tip my hat, I guess, theoretically speaking.
Thank
you. You know, just encourage you guys to keep going because I don't know what week it is for me, but I just know that, you know, 5 years, it's a lot of weeks, and it's all about persistence, and, you know, it's what it takes to kind of get to where you want to be, you know? So for me, it's been a mission. It was a very simple concept that I definitely did not know, nor could have imagined that it would have taken me where I am today. And thankful, you know. So whatever you guys want to learn about me, just feel free to ask, because I'm not one to talk about myself a whole lot. It's just more or less built on conversyou that's how I do better. You know
and that's how I feel like I am too, in a sense. Like I do like that a lot, because like it's hard. If you have a big ego, then I feel like it's easy to talk about yourself. But like, you know, when you have like an ego where you're humbled and you like, you know where you came from, in a sense, like
correct.
You don't necessarily talk about yourself like ever. Like you're worried about what you're going to be doing next, or you're like worried about something else. So
for sure.
Yeah, no, but how excited are you for this one, man?
I'm excited. It really got me going that you said, you know, what you said right now about us.
That's exactly why I asked you, because yesterday, but tell him, man.
Oh, no, you can go ahead and say it. But like, to me, that felt good right there. Because we were just talking recently that like, it really is a matter for us was just literally consistency, literally being consistent, you know, doing what we were doing. And, you know, we're going to be where we are today. We're going to still be doing podcasts. We're still going to be having great guests on. So for you to say that, you know, and someone who's literally done what what we're striving to do, for sure, it means a lot. So
yeah, again, most definitely. I mean, I think that, you know, essentially my role in this community is bigger than what people perceive myself to be. So, you know, they may see entrepreneurship, they may see clothing brand, and you could, you know, you could discount that as so much, because how many people do you guys know that have started a clothing brand and it no longer exists, or they do it for 2 months, 3 months, they mishandle their budget and now they don't have a clothing brand. So, you know, it's definitely a different ballpark that I'm trying to play on. I see the long game. I'm not focused on right now. It's definitely something, it's a passion of mine to, you know, become a brand that the ordinary person wears on a day-to-day without even thinking about it. So for instance, I could point out your North Face hoodie. You don't think about, you know, why you purchase that. You just buy it because it's dope. It's to the liking of your colorways of what you want to put on your body, and just, or it might just be a gift, something that, you know, an aunt or your mom could buy you or what have you, and you don't think about it. That's essentially what I want Iron Bullies to become in the long game. But as of right now, we are a local brand, and thankfully through our works, you know, we've been blessed with the opportunity to go to a national level, to where we have customers out in New York, Miami, Dallas, things like that. And it's becoming more common. So even though we're local, we're not. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So
you guys are getting out there.
Yeah, man.
A lot of it has to do with social media too,
correct.
Right? Yeah. You were saying a little bit earlier, right, that it was a simple idea that became to what it is now.
For sure.
What was that? What inspired that idea, right? What inspired the whole thing behind Iron Bullies?
For sure. So, I mean, truly speaking, man, it's more on a personal level. So I guess, you know, I don't know how much research you guys did on myself or whatnot, or what you guys may have heard from Anthony or anybody else, but it's more or less, man, I grew up in the streets here in Fresno. You know what I mean? So the logo was almost a no-brainer. And, you know, to most people, it kind of goes over their head. They don't necessarily know what I'm talking about. So for instance, for me, my affiliations with the streets was, you know, with like gangs and whatnot. So that's what I grew up around. Since I was, I don't know, 5, 6 years old, that's what I grew up seeing out in the streets in the same neighborhood that I grew up on. So, you know, we're on a prestige side of town right now, but where I grew up is considered Southeast Fresno. Right. And back in the early 90s, can I cuss?
Yeah.
Oh, so it's ghetto as fuck. You know what I mean? So it's one of those things where, like, I love that place. I embrace that place. I still go once in a while, kind of just to remember my roots and, you know, get inspired, if anything, or, you know, try to visualize how I can help that community if it's asked for, because obviously, you know, coming from a place where you're trying to help, you don't want to be pushy on like, hey, take my help. It's more or less like, hey, if the help is needed, I'm here to support it. And, you know, we could encourage one another, because I want people to acknowledge that the place that I come from is not a beautiful place, but I think Fresno's beautiful. It has a lot of potential. It has immense, you know, capabilities going into the future. So to me, have been basically born into that, the idea was like, all right, what does this community embrace? You know, we like we like to wear Fresno State gear, but there's also a street affiliation to that logo.
Right.
So for me, it was a simple way of taking from that knowledge and saying, well, you know, what can I relate that to myself without putting myself out there as a former gang member or affiliate, for that matter. And, you know, so I thought of the pit bull breed, and, you know, and it was something that it kind of just aligned, because I had done a report at City about the pit bull breed and how it was banned in certain counties, even certain states don't allow you to have them. Any application that you go and fill out for an apartment, they're not going to let you keep your dog if that's what you have.
Mm-hmm.
And so, that I guess that thought of like the ignorance that is behind whoever made that rule is like, you most likely have never owned one.
Yep,
You know
exactly.
what I mean? So to be able to, misplace or put your own thoughts into a specific breed and say, hey, you can't live here. You know what I mean? That's basically how I felt about myself. It was like, because I have quite a bit of tattoos. I know buddies and have a ton of other old friends that have way more tats than I do.
Mm-hmm.
But when I would go to nice places, let's say that ink is out in the open, you immediately get discriminated.
Yeah.
So people assume like, hey, you can't afford to be here, or like you might steal something, or,
Right.
You're out of place. And to me, that went hand in hand with the breed. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
So that
yeah,
was the
yeah.
initial thought. And it was only because, we had pit bulls at home. So it was just like, man, and if you get to know them, if you raise them right, like they're lovable.
Some of
like,
the sweetest dogs.
Yeah.
No,
yeah.
Yeah.
Seriously.
All those dudes want to do is sleep, eat,
Play.
Be
play.
loved.
Yeah, be loved,
But the thing is about them, they know if someone's trying to fuck with them or their owner,
Exactly.
they'll fuck shit
Correct.
up. Yeah.
Correct. And so that's truly where the idea was basically stemmed from. But at the same time, I used to do landscape, and this is a story that not a lot of people know about me. But my family has a landscape business, so they're gardeners to this day. And this one day, I was just mowing somebody's lawn, and I was trying to think of names
Mhm.
for a clothing brand because I didn't know what it was going to be called.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
just knew the ideas were kind of all over the place. I
Have the
just
vision.
needed to narrow it down. And so, as I was mowing this person's lawn, I was just like, man, like, something bullies. And then Iron Bullies was just like the one that stuck the most. And I was just like, let me write this down so I don't forget. And then I'm going to reach out to like a few people that I know to see what they think.
Yeah.
Because, it's, go ahead.
So let me ask you, what is your passion? Is it the clothing industry, or is it the meaning behind Iron Bullies? What is the passion here?
I would say both. And I'm getting there because, clothing was something that I've always loved.
Okay.
I've always loved clothing, and it's a long story,
Mhm.
but, growing up, I always wanted the threads that I couldn't afford.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
Makes sense.
So it was one of those things where you find yourself being from a low income household, and
Right.
we're not poor, but we definitely never had the luxury to just
There it is.
There it is.
That happens so much. I'm so sorry, Edgar.
You're good, brother. We never had the luxury to just ask and get. You know what I mean? So we either had to work for it or we had to wait our turn.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So to give you a backside of my upbringing, I have 9 brothers and sisters.
Mm.
So I'm one of 10. And my parents are still married. They they've
It's awesome.
That is
Yeah.
awesome. That's
So,
awesome.
so but again, we had to wait our turn.
Yeah.
So you want a pair of shoes, a handful of you guys are going to get a pair of shoes, take care of them in 2 to
Mhm.
3 months. Maybe the next one can't get that pair of shoes.
Where were you in the one of 10?
Out of all of us, I'm number 4, but between my parents, I'm the third one.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Because my oldest brother, he lives out in Mexico.
Oh,
Okay.
And so, yeah, but the passion for the clothing came from the not having, or
Okay.
the ability to not have.
Right.
You know what I mean? So, having older brothers is definitely a plus because they game you up ahead of time.
Yeah.
So if you're an only child, it's basically you're finding things out through your friends, through curiosity.
Right.
But with me having older brothers, they would get magazines, little things that I would like, open up and be like, oh, those are some cool shoes. Like I want those shoes, or that's a dope jacket, or I like this dude's haircut.
Mhm.
Like I'm gonna get a haircut like that one day. You know what I mean? And
Yeah,
it's like,
yeah.
it's like stuff that you think as a kid, if you care about that stuff, you know, but like I said, my inability to have those things kind of gave me like that passion to you know, I guess value threads. So, you know, when I could start working when I was like 13, 14 years old, I would save my money from, you know, landscaping or doing other things and take myself to a fashion fair and, you know, buy myself my school outfits.
Right.
You know what I mean? So, but to answer your question, I think it goes hand in hand, you know, and I think now being my age, I for sure still care about both, but I care more about the meaning.
Okay.
Because it gives me the ability to encourage people like yourselves, and you guys are young men. So, you know, I think I could relate more to you guys because I'm still trying to find a way to be relatable to everybody.
No, you're definitely relatable because I feel like, you know, since the time you started talking on this podcast, I've just been relating to every single thing that you've been saying. And I feel like at the 3-minute mark, I was a little bit discombobulated. I thought the camera was not on. So I kind of like, that's when we got caught in between words. So I apologize.
No, you're good. You're good.
No, we're back. We're live. Cameras are rolling.
Yeah.
Edgar, you brought us some goodies, man. You brought us some hats, some of your supplements, some of that off the leash. I've seen that off the leash stuff in so many people's hands, like in the parking lot right before they're about to go into the gym. So like, dude, this is awesome. Tell us a little bit about what you brought today, man.
So, you know, to start off with, you know, I wish my partner Austin was here to kind of give you guys a better breakdown than what I could give you on the supplements, just because I like to give him all the credit. You know, we just happen to be partners on the supplement side of things. I think Iron Bullies definitely complements Off the Leash and ISO Breed, and vice versa. You know what I mean? But it's definitely something that I hope you guys give him a shot to come on your podcast and kind of, you know, talk his ass off about it, because he's a young dude, smart as hell, you know, definitely one of the smartest gentlemen I've ever met. And when I met Austin, he was working at the shop that I now own. But I used to ask him just out of curiosity, like, hey man, like, what are you doing with your life? You know what I mean? And not in a disrespectful manner. It was just more or less to be curious about, like, what do you want to do with yourself? Because I think that we go so much time without asking each other that, and not challenging each other in a way to put each other down. It's more or less like, hey man, I want to see you win. You know, you're 21 right now, but you're not going to be 21 forever. So just remember that, you know? And so if you have a burning passion for something, like go and explore it. Even if you fail, it's better to find out, hey, I tried that, it didn't work, rather than to say, hey, you know what, I'm too old. That was an idea that I had 8 years ago and I never tried it. So my challenge to him was really like, hey, what are your talents? Or what does your heart speak to? That way, you know, I can help you in some way. And I'm not rich by any means, but you know, I had a little bit of money put away, and he did too. And I was just like, all right, man, well, we're talking about it, but we're not doing anything about it. So on a random day, I went to my bank, I withdrew X amount of dollars, and I just dropped it off. And I was just like, here's my half, do what you got to do. You know what I mean? And he could fact check it too. He could fact check it. Yeah. You know, or, you know, you guys could ask him on your own time, but that's really how I remember it. And it was just one of those things, because like, if I could give this young man who's one of my best friends today an opportunity, why wouldn't I?
Yeah. And you trusted him.
Yeah. And we trust each other more than anything, because outside of the supplements, we have our own lives and, you know, other projects that we're both working on. So, you know, it's definitely something that this is the long game too. You know what I mean? Like, this is our first flavor for our whey isolate, and we have 3 flavors in our pre-workout. Has it ever been done locally? Of course it has, but not at the level that we've done it. And I know that for a fact. Right. You know, it didn't taste as good. It didn't sell as well. It never got promoted. So who do you think did all of that? We did. Yeah. You know what I mean? And it was a team effort. And it was by bringing in people like Anthony, you know, our whole team within the store, And just basically to put it out there, you know, I also own Elevate Sports Nutrition, which is right across from GB3 North, down the street from here. And I strongly believe we're the best supplement store in town. You know,
that's awesome.
Of course, you have your GNCs and other shops like that, but
the franchises.
Yeah, but I think we're building the best model that welcomes people and doesn't make them feel forced into buying things they don't need or don't know how to use, basically. You know?
Here's from like the only word that keeps popping in my mind is uplifting, dude. Like Edgar, you're so uplifting. It's crazy. And the things that I've like seen from like your community, everybody is uplifting in the Iron Bullies community. Everyone picks each other up. They encourage each other to get better. And like, I feel like, you know, every single piece of clothing that someone buys, that piece of like a little piece of your uplifting goes along with it, because like, dude, it's definitely spreading. And like you're saying with your nutrition shop, like it's welcoming. You want people to be able to go in there with, even like for me, like I have no knowledge of supplements, but just from hearing that one piece, I feel like I could walk into your store and feel comfortable with talking to whoever you got working behind the counter. Cause I feel like with like a GNC or like the Flex Factory, all those other ones, like I feel like you walk in there and I'm intimidated because like I know nothing about it. Those guys are jacked. You know, they know every single thing in the store. Yeah. And it's just a little bit intimidating.
For sure. And I think like without obviously talking down on them, I think it's what do you want your atmosphere to represent? You know what I mean? Like at the end of the day, like I'm using my own experience to my advantage. So for instance, like 10 years ago, when I was living in San Diego and I was in the military, you know, I walk into a GNC, don't know what to buy. I just know I'm trying to put on some muscle and I'm trying to lose some fat. You know, that's how basic I was thinking, like, you know, get jacked, lose the belly. And I still haven't done either to this day. But it's one of those things that it's like, all right, so I walk into the GNC, I don't know what to purchase. I ask the person behind the counter, like, hey, what can I take? And instead of them guiding me properly through the process of breaking down, like, hey, look, you're going to take this because it's going to do this. It's going to make you feel like this, and come back in a week and let me know how it's going. No, instead they shoved $300 worth of product in my face.
That's exactly what I'm talking about. That's exactly what I'm talking about.
And they sent me out the door. So instead of me being a returning customer, you took my $300. Let's call it what it is. But I'm never coming back. Yeah, you know what I mean.
You don't know how to use.
So the business model that I'm building is I prefer $1,000, $10 transactions from one person that keeps coming back and that trusts us over a one-time $300, you know, because do the math. Loyalty, it just makes sense. Yeah. You know what I mean? So that's what's going to keep the lights on. That's what's going to keep the community talking about you. And that's what we're doing. You know what I mean? Because we don't necessarily have to blow a bag on advertising, but we do it because we want new people to be encouraged to get off the couch and come join us in the atmosphere that we enjoy. Because it's not about bodybuilding. It's not about powerlifting, or it's not about any other realm of sport that exists within the gym. It's just about taking care of yourself. You know what I mean? Because like, look at what we're experiencing right now. You know, coronavirus basically made half of society scared and the other half kind of resist. Yeah. And now you see this uneasiness between people where we can't even shake hands without being like, hey man, like, I don't know if you got that stuff. Yeah, you know what I mean?
The world's very uneasy. Yeah. And a lot of different subjects too.
Yeah. So we could have a whole conversation that has nothing to do with the brand or Elevate Sports, but at the end of the day, those are my reasons why I continue to just push to build something that's beyond a money machine. You know what I mean? Because at the end of the day, man, I'm trying to employ as many people as possible. And why? Because like, I wish somebody would have given me those opportunities when I was their age. Right. But you know, if God dealt me those cards for my life, that's what I believe in. So it's just like, shoot, it's my turn. Whether you believe that or not, you know, I believe that. So I'm playing by my rules, you know, and that, I think that's the best way to live a life of joy, happiness, something where, you know, even when you are scared, you have a little more courage than the next person to say, hey, I'm going to start that podcast. I'm going to launch that supplement line. I'm going to, you know, step on stage. I'm going to compete. Even when your friends are laughing at you, even when your mom is telling you, hey, you should probably not do that. It's just like, learn how to trust yourself. That way, eventually, you don't have to ask for permission. You know what I mean? And like, I'm a little bit of a rebel. So like, I learned the hard way, you know, it took me making a lot of mistakes to get to where I'm at today.
Right. Going back, cause like how you're just, you know, going over everything about just doing it. Like you just said, right? Was there ever a time of uncomfortableness, right? Where you thought like in your head, like maybe you know, was there ever those thoughts of doubt?
Course,
and all that? Yeah.
I mean, I think anybody who says no is a liar. You know what I mean? Like we're human, you know, we feel, we fear, we like get things go wrong in our lives, you know, for me, you know, I'm a dad. So I'm putting it out there, you know, and I've been a dad for 9 years. I'm have a son on the way, so this is going to be my second child.
Congrats.
And
Congratulations.
thank you. And so, you know, I work my ass off for them, but it hasn't always been like that, because I think as young men, you know, with social media, we get distracted. And social media could be either the something amazing. It could be an amazing tool, or it could be the end of you, because you could either let it control you or you could let it help you. And so for me, you know, I didn't know how to use social media when I started Iron Bullies. And the crazy part is that, you know, I had to ask a friend, like, hey man, how do you post on Instagram? Like, I don't know what a hashtag is. I don't know, you know, anything. And this is, you know, back in 2016. So, you know, there's been plenty of updates on Instagram alone, let alone TikTok and YouTube and any other platform that you want to exist on.
It's like they all battled today now to be the best.
Oh, yeah,
literally,
they're all like,
they're all battling to have the newest update.
So
and you got to stay on top of it.
So
too.
you on top of it.
You have to. So, you know, what I was getting to is when you see, let's say you post that hat that, you know, I brought you guys, and you think it's the dopest hat ever, but you only get one like. How's that going to make you feel?
Not very good.
You know what I mean? When you made 30 hats and none of them sold, how's that going to make you feel? You know what I mean? So, of course, there's moments of like uneasiness to think like, shit, man, like, am I doing what I'm supposed to be doing, or is this a pipe dream? You know what I mean? Because, you know, most of society, at least in the old times, you know, they would basically discount you in the sense, or I don't know if that's the right word to use, but they would basically think you're not on track if you don't have a degree, if you don't have a career set, if you didn't talk to a counselor that could tell you what to do with your own life. You know what I mean? So like, we got to pay attention to those things. And so for me, even, you know, when I was still in college, which is not too long ago, you know, I got out of the Navy in 2014. Dove straight into City College because I didn't want to mess up or be tempted by not going to school.
Right.
So I signed
time. Just
so I signed myself up like right as I got home, you know, and I was going to City, but I didn't know what I was going to school for. I was just kind of like guessing. And I would talk to counselors, but they'd be like, from the sounds of it, this is what you like. And I'd be like, all right, I'm gonna trust you. And I ended up getting a social what's it like to be a social worker? I forget what the degree's called.
I don't know.
But anyway, I never used it.
I have no idea.
You know what I mean? That's the point. Like, I never used it. Was it a great thing to do? Of course. I gained a ton of experience by taking all those college courses and meeting the people that I met within those years. But at the end of the day, those people cannot tell you what your future. They can't guarantee your future. Is basically what I'm saying.
Edgar, we might just become best friends right now, man. Because, oh my gosh, dude, you're preaching. You, I mean, to my opinion, my beliefs, you're preaching right now. Because I'm in college right now. I'm going to college, and my parents are probably listening to this podcast, and my grandparents are probably listening to this podcast. But I go to college for them in a sense. Like I go to school because I live under their roof. Like they're still my parents. I'm gonna have to do
respect.
It's out of respect, and I have my own beliefs on college. Like I don't personally think you need it. Like you were saying, like that degree, those counselors do not. They do not tell you what your future is going to be, or like they don't tell you anything like that. Like I saw a stat, it's like 75% of the people that graduate like with their degree, like they don't ever use that degree. Like,
isn't that funny?
Or it's you do something else. Like that shouldn't be the case. Like if you pay thousands of dollars for this degree, you might as well get a job that degree
or start
that
a business.
Job. Go start a business or something, right? So like there's just so many questions that I have with college.
For sure.
But like I know what I'm gonna do. Like I know that this is what
for sure
I'm gonna do. It's a little hard to talk because I've never talked about it on camera, like on a podcast or anything. So kind of like bouncing between words, but I'm right there with you on that.
But that's even when I was made aware that you guys wanted to have me on here, I knew that I didn't want this episode to just be about me. You know what I mean? Because I never treat any conversation like that. I don't want praise. I don't want, like just attention for no reason. Let's have a conversation, man.
Yeah.
Like, what are you guys trying to achieve? That way, if there's a way that I can help you guys after this episode, like I could do that because I know how. It's not shooting darts in the dark. You know what I mean? This is like very calculated. This is like trial and error based. This is me spending my own money. Like I've done it all, and I'm still going, and I'm still not successful. You know what I mean? That's what I really want people to understand, because I was telling Anthony on the way over here, like I appreciate the messages, but I almost don't know how to respond when people say, "Hey man, can you sponsor me?" And to me, it's just like, dude, like you guys don't get it. Like
it's not that easy.
It's not that easy. Like, and it's not because we don't want to. It's just we're not in that position yet. Like, imagine, like, let's say somebody shoots me a DM and they say, "Hey Edgar," or "Hey Iron Bullies, I would love to be a sponsored athlete." All right, man. But do you understand that those items that you believe you're going to get for free aren't free?
Yeah.
And do you understand that it's going to cost money to even ship them to you? And do you understand that that is revenue that you're taking out of our business that then cripples us from growing?
Yeah.
Do you understand that?
And it's nothing against them. And that's the thing. Like you gotta just, you're starting a business. It's not easy. There's so many businesses out there. There's so many clothing brands. There's so many gym brands out there. It's like everything is saturated. Every market, every industry, and it's just like you got to play your cards right. You can't just be giving out free shit. You know what I mean?
You can't. And the funny part is that people think that that's support. Them asking for something for free is them supporting you because they're going to put it on their body. Guess what? Hundreds of other people are doing it and they're paying for it. You know what I mean? So there's a big difference between support and wanting free shit. And we're not in the game of giving out free stuff. We do it all the time.
Not yet.
Correct.
Yep.
Correct. But we do giveaways. So enter our giveaways. This is
there you go.
Directly to the audience. Enter our giveaways because we have them often. We have them at least once every 2 to 3 months. And, we always do 2 to 3 winners. So for me, it's like I love giving stuff away. I just can't promise you something that I know I can't be good on my word. You know what I mean? So if we are going to sponsor you, one, you need to be better at social media than me. You need to bring something to the table. You need to have an audience. You need to sell your ass off. That way you could provide value to what you're asking for. Right. And those are the gems that I could give any young person, especially young athletes that are trying to become bodybuilders or trying to be in the scene, have an audience, and then on top of that, create value for your audience, because it's not about selling garments. If Iron Bullies was just garments, like we would still have some clients, but we wouldn't have all the customers that we've, gained throughout the years, because, let's say all we're putting up is pictures of clothes. Like you really have to have some sort of influence on people for them to be like, I'm buying that. You have to give them a reason to want to buy it. You know what I mean? And so I respect anybody that even tries to step in the ring of clothing, because that shit is hard.
Hell yeah.
You know what I mean?
I've tried.
Yeah.
See, we were talking about this on our walk into the barn, how, you know, I've been doing YouTube for several years now. I've also had several brands already, like not several, but a couple that like, you know, I started and then I was just like, damn, I don't have the time. I don't know enough stuff. I don't know every this and that. Now, you know, 5 years later to where we are today,
For sure.
I feel like all this information that I've learned, you know, we're still learning. Like we were actually talking about this last night. We're hoping to get into this, get into clothing, you know, like starting in clothing for ourselves. But we were hoping to ask you questions about that, which we're getting into. But yeah, dude, wow, I just blanked. I'm so sorry.
No, but you know what? You know what? The beauty of it.
I'm firing on all cylinders right now, dude. This thing, I got my face and my ears are like tingling right now. Like my nose is going crazy.
It's the beta alanine in the C4, brother. But
it's going nuts.
But the beauty of having this conversation is the window that it opens up, or the door that it opens up. So an observation, and this is, you know, just purely take it as an observation. I'm not critiquing or anything like that, but I would highly encourage you guys to change your YouTube channel name to Guys Being Dudes.
That's what I said.
You know what I mean?
That's
and why? Because you want people to find you as easily as possible. You guys already have a logo. The channel's already doing numbers. So why not? You know what I mean? Yeah. I think that if it's going to be your focus, you might as well change the name. Yeah. And, you know, I said it on here. I don't know if anybody has ever...
Comment down below your guys' thoughts.
Yeah, comment down below, because we've talked about this.
Talked about this. Yeah.
And the pros and cons to it would be the cons. I'm going to start the cons first.
Okay.
We have vlogs coming out. We have videos, different videos coming out. Like I said, I've been doing YouTube for several years now, so I still make vlogs myself, but what we were talking about the other day is if the vlogs are going to be mainly like Guys Being Dudes vlogs, like when we go and travel out of town to go do a podcast with one of our friends, or like when we go to like Texas and stuff like that, we're going to be filming those trips. So it kind of makes sense to change the name. If it's going to be the GBD podcast, right? And then we also got, you know, some Guys Being Nude vlogs coming out, you know, off to the side, you know, every now and then. Then it makes kind of sense.
Let me ask it. So are we changing the name, or are we making a new channel? What is that?
Just changing the name. Okay,
yeah,
because you already have the subscriptions,
right? Yeah, this is what I was saying. Because I thought, you know, we were going back and forth, like, well, because at first we were saying a new page, and I said, well, you've had this page for so long, you've built the numbers and everything. Now to make a whole new page is going to be a lot harder to start over again. I said,
I mean, you know, think about rebranding. That's all it is. Yeah. You know what I mean?
Rebranded before.
I mean, look at Facebook.
Exactly.
You know, they're switching. I mean, you would think Facebook is worth billions. You know, like your guys' channel is in its infancy. Yeah. Like
this metaverse thing is crazy. Like Facebook did.
You know, right now is the perfect opportunity to do that. Because at some point, let's say I no longer want to be Iron Bullies. I just want to be Bullies. I can rebrand myself, and that audience will stick it out with me. Yeah. Because they're not going to be upset that I took the word iron out. Yeah. You know what I mean? Yeah. Like we're still the same people. It's just a shorter phrase. Gotcha. You know, so think about it in those terms. And I mean, when people think about Guys Being Dudes, they put your guys' two faces, you know, in those slots. Yeah. So, you know.
And it does make sense looking at our, when I'm looking at the stats or whatever, and the browse history, like usually it's Guys Being Dudes. Like that's what people are searching up to look for our podcast. So, I mean, it does make sense.
There
we go.
Yeah. You know, we should start doing it.
Yeah. Right? But anyway,
here's devil's advocate right here, because this channel is the same channel that I've been running with for like a while now, and it's got copyright claims on there because of like music and stuff like that, because you can't use like the music that we listen to today. You got to use like non-copyrighted music
for sure,
and I don't want to do that. You already don't make any money on YouTube how it is, so I don't want to like make a new channel like what you were saying, because then we would lose all that. But if I change the name and with all the like the copyrighted stuff, I don't think it's going to improve it. Like, I don't think it's going to help at all. Like, because the copyright strikes, like there's like a limit to what we can actually like do and accomplish on the channel.
For sure.
Until like we have to like make a new channel. So
For
like
sure.
there's something in there. There's like this gray area that I think we have to figure out before we do that.
For
but
sure.
I think changing the name will
that's
make
a good
it
point.
Like, better for us.
That's a good point. I mean, talk to somebody who's more of an expert in the YouTube realm. That way you know, if there's validity to that thought, find out before you don't do it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because the thing about putting it off is that you'll never get around to it. That's just how most people operate. Like they'll say, "Oh man, yeah, I'm gonna do that, or I'm gonna take care of that," and then they just never get around to it. And it's just like, all right, well, you know, there goes that advice. So it's one of those things where it's just, you know, it just depends. It just depends, because there's different ways to monetize, to improve your audience, to improve, you know, your search optimization, all that stuff. So, you know, never be afraid of the challenge. I think that's what makes doing something so like incredible, because not everybody has the courage to do it. You know, I mean, this might seem like a conversation between three dudes, but it's just like not everybody has the courage to do that.
Yeah.
You know?
Right.
So
No, that is very true. You mentioned you have a military background.
Correct.
Right?
Yeah.
I want to thank you for your services and everything.
Thank you guys.
Why did you get into the military?
So honestly, man, that was like the beginning of my transition onto a better life, basically. You know, so, you know, before joining the military, you know, I mean, this is years ago, so I'm not afraid to, you know, speak about it.
No, so bluntly,
good.
but
You're good. But, you know, like, you know, prior to the military, I definitely wasn't on the best track. You know, like I mentioned in the beginning, I was heavily involved in the streets and, you know, just doing street things. And, you know, I still know street people, period. Right. So, you know, to this day, like, I think that's going to be my life. You know, it's like, these are the people that I grew up with. I still want to help them to some regard. So that's just my life. But the decision to join the military was more based on how can I impact my own life? You know what I mean? Like, they can do whatever they want, but this is me just thinking about me and thinking about how I'm affecting my home life and my experience with my parents and, you know, being an older brother and whatnot. So, you know, I got locked up probably a few months before I signed my contract. So it was definitely one of those experiences where it was my first time in jail. And I was like, I never want to see this ever again, you know? So that, you know, made a contribution to my decision to get out of here, you know, because it was just like, dude, if you continue down this path, like, you might end up like some of your boys, you know, which I love them. You know, they're still my boys to this day. But I definitely don't wish to see half of the things that I'm assuming they've seen or experienced, because I have friends that have lost 5, 10, 15 years to the system. Yeah. And it's just like, you did it to yourself, you know, and that could very well be me. But let me make this move, you know, now that they're giving me a shot and see if I could even join, because, you know, to my knowledge back then, you know, I automatically was disqualified from joining the Marines due to some tattoos that I have or had. And, you know, and then so I ended up meeting my Navy recruiter at my workplace, which I don't know if you guys are old enough to remember Gottschalks, but I used to work retail there. Okay. And, you know, I worked in the men's department, just folding stuff and, you know, helping old ladies and stuff like that. And, you know, that was my job for about 2 years, maybe a year and a half. And my recruiter walked in. I thought he was a Marine. I didn't know any of the uniforms, didn't know the differences or anything like that. But he gave me his recruiting card. I was like, hey, man, have you ever thought of joining? Like, yeah, I actually did, like, back when I was a senior in high school. But, like, my best friend at the time didn't commit, so I didn't commit. You know what I mean? Yeah. And so we fast forward 3 years later, I'm 21. I meet this guy, and he's giving me basically the opportunity of a lifetime to, like, clean my record, get out of Fresno, start a new life. And so I'm very hesitant to even call him, but I'm glad that I did, because, you know, When I got in contact with him, he told me what I needed to do. I needed to lose like 40 pounds, basically get a specific score to even join the ASVAB test, as many people have taken it. That basically tells you where you fall in the categories of jobs available. And, so he gave me that shot. I did my ASVAB, went to San Jose to MEPS, signed my contract, and I was off. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So
Wow. Crazy.
but in between all of that, one of our boys, ended up getting killed in like early October of 2009. And I was in the middle of like leaving or deciding to like stay back.
Right.
And that situation kind of made me like not want to go. So I stopped answering my recruiter's phone calls, and I stopped showing up to the trainings. And he finally one day just came to my house and was like, "Hey man, what's going on?" So I, broke down to him, and I was just like, "Man, I don't know what to do. Like I'm stuck in between like getting out of here and like this part of my life that I don't know how to let go of as a 21-year-old, And but yeah, he was real about the situation, and we had a good conversation. Took me out to eat. We talked about it, and he was just like, "Come on, man, let's get you out of here." So thankfully, I finally got on that plane to leave to Great Lakes, Illinois, which is where Navy boot camp is held. And that was that, And it was crazy because I would stare out the windows. Like boot camp is like being locked up.
Really?
You know what I mean? Like
Take us through it.
Yeah, like
Take us through that.
Say again?
Take us through boot camp.
Oh, so basically you live in a room, about the same size as this, maybe a little bigger, but you're in there with like 80 people or like 70 dudes.
Holy shit! That's
no phone,
crazy.
No, nothing.
Yeah.
I think they have it easier today. Don't quote me on that, but from what I've heard, they're more lenient nowadays. Yeah. This is back in those days, it was already like no phone calls. Maybe you get in the 12-week period, you get one phone call. And so I was at the top bunk, and I would just like look out the window like every night and be like, man, what if I like got out of here? Like, go out the window, skip town and go back home or something. But like, those are crazy thoughts that I think a lot of people that go through that process might think. I don't know, maybe I'm just, I'm singling myself out or whatever, but that's what would cross my mind. And, it was the everyday regular shit, programming, which is the exercise portion of your day, going to breakfast,
getting up at the butt crack of dawn.
Yeah. Learning new things. I mean, getting woken up to flickering lights. They basically, in the first few weeks, they're trying to break you in.
Yeah.
So they basically just walk into the compartment, turn on the lights when you're like in the middle of your sleep, and expect you to like, there's this thing called the toe line.
Yeah.
And basically everybody has to have their boots on and be on the toe line within a span of 30 seconds.
Damn.
You know what I mean? So it's one of those things. And I remember specifically to this day, this one time, I'm a light sleeper, so I would wake up fairly easy. But this one day I was just in a mad deep sleep. And my bunkie, which is the guy that sleeps under me, he was like shaking me. He was like, "Hey bro, they're in here. Like, get up. And I was just like, huh? And I remember, so I'm like over here half asleep trying to jump out of my bed, and my legs aren't working. So I just fall flat on my back, and I'm like on the floor for like a good 5 seconds, and I can't breathe. And I'm just like, give me my fucking boots, bro. And I'm like slipping them on, and I get on the toe line. But it was like little stuff like that, and it was just, and it was nuts because there was so generally speaking, most people acknowledge what we know as an RDC as your boot camp trainers or, your drill instructors. That's normally what you would call, them. But in the Navy, it's an RDC. And to make a long story short, one of them, which was a short guy, super tatted, was picking on me for like the first 2 weeks, like just trying to break me, just trying to crack me. He was like, "Where are you from, man?" This, that, and the third. And he finally like asked me like one-on-one. He was just like, "Hey, you're from California?" I was just like, "Yeah, man." He's like, what part?" He's like, so I just told him Fresno. He's like, "Oh, you're a Bulldog?" And I was just like, oh man, like this dude knows, he knows his shit. And I didn't expect him to know because he's from New York, you know?
Oh, wow.
So I was just like, damn, this dude's, he's seen some of our people come through here.
Yeah.
So, you know, but after that, and, you know, after he got to know me a little bit, and, you know, I basically told him, because he told me he used to do graffiti. I told him I used to do graffiti. So we kind of hit it off right there.
Yeah.
And so the rest of my boot camp experience was like, it wasn't easy, but it was a lot more easy going, if that makes sense.
Right.
But, you know, make a long story short, I go into the fleet, which just means you get sent to where you're actually going to be working.
Where'd you get sent?
And I was on the carrier, the CVN 76, the Ronald Reagan.
Okay.
It used to be stationed in San Diego, and now it's stationed in Japan.
Yeah.
And so that's where I was at. And I was probably on there for 3.5 months, and I got sent on my first deployment. So I was just like, it's just culture shock, bro. Culture shock like crazy. You know, like you don't know anybody. You feel alone.
Yeah.
Like you're having suicidal thoughts. Like just like, it's just crazy. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
for sure.
And you don't really have too many people to talk to. So it's one of those things where it either makes you or it breaks you. And unfortunately, I lost, you know, or I mean, as that carrier, we lost, you know, several sailors to, you know, self-inflicted whatever. And it just kind of makes you realize, like, man, I'm thankful to have a strong mindset.
Right.
You know what I mean? Because you're not happy that it's not you. It's just more or less like you wish you could talk to these people and give them some kind words to be like, "Hey, man, we're going to be home in no time."
Right.
You know what I mean? So that inspires my thoughts anytime I hear some negative shit, because I'm just like, no, you don't know what's hard.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, and somebody else might have a completely different life experience that says this is hard, but that's my version of hard. It's just like, look, I've been across the world. You know, I remember my first deployment. We were originally being sent to the Philippines, and then we got rerouted because if you guys are old enough or you want to YouTube it, there was a huge tsunami out in an island in Japan, and we were the closest to it. So
what was it?
I forget what the city's called. I don't remember, but I know it's in Japan. And
it was that big tsunami. It was that massive tsunami.
Yep,
yeah. Okay.
Yep,
Yeah.
yep.
I know what we're talking about. They actually had some effects over here on the West Coast. Like I remember, like my grandparents were saying, like when it happened, like there was something that happened with the water, got pushed up or something like that.
Yep. And it was nuts because when we arrived on the scene, you just saw like people's houses just floating, like just hella debris, just like some shit that you're just like, damn, this is like real. Like I'm seeing this with my eyes. You know what I mean? Like there's like bodies somewhere stuck under there. And so like, you know, the definition of it fucking with your head is like on a different level, because you're just like, oh wow, like thousands of people just got killed by water. And obviously, you know, whatever comes with that. But, you know, your appreciation for your life has to be on a completely different level. And we were stuck on that ship for almost 80 days. We were on board for 78 days. And the Navy has this rule: if the commanding officer wants to, after being out to sea for 50 days or plus, he could grant the command a beer day. So they basically fly in like pallets of beers, and you only get 2, but obviously they don't want people getting fucked up and having incidents and stuff. But I thought that was cool as shit. I was like,
cool.
Fuck, dude, I miss a taste of beer. You know what I mean? It's been more than 50 days. So, you know, it was for sure enjoyable. But, you know, being in the Navy had its ups and its downs, just like anything in life. And, you know, even talking about it, it kind of like it gives me the chills. And I'm just like, shit, dude, like I'm super grateful to be here because, you know, it took me what, 10 minutes to drive from my shop to here.
Yeah.
And, you know, we're talking.
And
we're not in danger.
And at one point in your life, you were looking at a tsunami that just hit a city.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah.
That is.
Yeah.
No, it really is.
Yeah. Yeah. But.
So Tay, let's go back to your recruiter. You know, that conversation that you guys had, you know, when you were kind of in between what you're going to do. Was he a big inspiration to you at that kind of time? You know, at that point, like moving on to the next chapter of your life?
Yeah, man.
Because you ended up making the decision to move on, right?
Of course, yes.
So I'm sure that he said some pretty good words. What was some of the best advice that he gave you?
I mean, honestly, bro, it wasn't the words, you know, more than anything. It was just like the able to relate.
Okay.
Just how I try to speak to people. Because if you can't connect with somebody, you're just not going to impact them.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And this dude was from LA, which is a way bigger city than Fresno is. And, you know, he showed me his neighborhood and I was just like, shit, dude, like this is like Fresno's a fraction of what LA is, even in gang culture.
Right.
So to me, it was just like, hey, man, if you got saved, I'm about to jump on ship. You know what I mean? Because like I'm for sure like trying to live somewhat a decent lifestyle. You know what I mean? Because, you know, I mean, he took me to his apartment, showed me his cars and things like that. And I was just like, to a kid from the ghetto, that's a big deal. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like
100%.
if those things are like given to you, like good for you. You know what I mean? Like I'm happy for you. Yeah. But it's a whole different ball game when you know you could do it on your own terms.
Yeah.
When you
and
could
it feels a lot better
correct,
too. Yeah.
Correct. And I mean, you know, we all have our own life experience. So I think that's what I could share in regards to the type of person that he was. He was just like very like, you know, maybe it was I don't know, maybe it was like a psychological thing, but
it might have been what you needed.
Yeah.
You had it's just some reassurance.
Someone
in
was
a sense,
there,
you know?
and that's what he needed at the time.
Yeah.
He was, you know, dark place, not trying to figure out where you needed.
Yeah, dude. Yeah.
He was there and he opened your eyes.
100%, man.
Yeah.
That is awesome. But let's see those shirts. You brought a few shirts here today.
Yeah, most definitely.
You got a store here in town, huh?
I
right?
do.
That's what you've been mentioning.
Do.
Where's it at?
It's off of Champlain and Shepherd. So it's
right there near the GB3.
Yep. So Elevate Sports Nutrition.
Right there.
We still to this day don't have like an Iron Bullies official store.
Oh,
but
so you guys sell the
correct.
Okay.
So I sell my merchandise straight out of my supplement shop, and it's become a one-stop shop. You know, like it's definitely a blessing because we've gotten people from like Sacramento, Oxnard, all that stuff, like just to drive down and shop. And that's like crazy because like you would never imagine going to a supplement store to go do some shopping.
No, right.
You know what I mean? Especially like out of your area.
Yeah.
You know, so like to me, that's how I know we're building something unique and interesting. But I'll let you guys take a look at it.
Yeah, no, 100%.
I'm basically what I brought today is basically an example of the first garments that I ever made. So this one specifically.
This is the first piece right here?
Yeah. Well, one of the first.
One of the first?
Yeah, but
wow, you definitely come a long way.
Yeah. So, you know, like
what year is this? 2016?
2016. Okay. Yeah. And it's crazy because nowadays, you know, Anthony's helping me build a series where we're actually giving out information on where to get your garments from. All that stuff.
This is great. That's awesome because we're going to ask you that after.
And so, you know, like that specific garment was one of the few that I purchased straight from eBay because I didn't know where to get blanks at the time. You know, that was like my first attempt at buying like wholesale.
Yeah.
And I got ripped off because these are made for basically Chinese men. Oh, okay. So, you know, with your guys' height, they'd probably fit you down to your belly button.
What did the 1987 resemble?
That's the year I was born.
Okay.
Yeah. So, but I also wanted to show you guys that. So it's gone through quite some
updates.
Some updates, correct. It's the same shirt, but I could show you.
Oh yeah, that's nice quality right here. That's comfy.
This is the first go at it. So
feel that.
Even our neck, the behind.
Yeah, if you guys are listening right now on Spotify or Apple Podcasts, come on over to YouTube. Come check out the stuff. We got a bunch of gear right now on screen.
Yeah. So if you simply look at, the back of the neck, that one that you have, that's the first edition.
Okay.
This was the second generation, and that's the up to date one.
That one right there. That okay. That stamp right there.
Yeah.
With the name.
So our
I like that. Change up the back a little bit. Just make that one little distinct.
Yeah, because
difference.
the logo tee, which is our original logo, it exists to this day, and it's one of our best sellers.
Okay. Yeah.
So it's
like
pretty cool. It's pretty cool to have an item that has existed since the beginning and continues to sell well.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because
usually.
exactly, most brands can't figure out that one item that becomes sustainable throughout time. Yep. And I also brought the original sketch of the Iron Bullies logo.
Oh, wow. Look at this.
Yeah.
Huh?
Yeah. So
wow. So are you creative? Are you pretty creative?
So I mean, I am, but this is I can't take the credit. This is a local artist who happens to have his own clothing brand as well. His name is Dorian Castro. He used to do all the merchandise for the Fresno Grizzlies. Oh wow! So I mean, we have some massive local talent, man.
No, we do.
I want to go on record. That's awesome. Trying to give everybody their flowers that has basically put in the work. Yeah. Like Dorian is a perfect example. Nowadays he has a brand called Sincere. I think he blows my shit out the water just because he's an actual graphic designer. But it's just amazing to see, like, he went from doing whatever he was doing prior to the Grizzlies to, creating Grizzlies merchandise to now starting his own brand. But in the midst of that, I had reached out to, I don't want to call him a graphic designer because I wouldn't want him to be offended if he ever saw this. But there's this local legend by the name of Sam Hansen. He is the guy that created the college dropout bear for Kanye West.
Oh wow!
And no way. Yeah, he lives here in Fresno.
Oh okay.
No way.
I've heard a story about this.
Yeah, and he has an amazing story. I mean, you can follow him on Instagram and form your own opinion. But that's the first person that popped into mind when I wanted a graphic designer.
Right.
But he was genuine enough to say, like, hey man, I don't think I'm the right person for you, but here's Dorian's information.
Oh wow. That's
so
cool.
I got in contact with Dorian. Dorian agreed to do it for X amount of dollars. And the crazy part with that, it was like a third or a fourth of my budget at the time, just the logo itself. So I want to encourage anybody who wants to start a clothing brand to not be afraid of initial investments because, if I would have said, you know what, that's too expensive, let me go with somebody else, this wouldn't be what it is today.
Right.
So you have to value people's time, people's work. And then at the end of the day, you have to trust yourself that you're going to work your ass off to make it work. You know what I mean? So, even though you guys invited me because of Iron Bullies, I know I didn't speak about it a whole lot, but I wanted to bring some original pieces that spoke to how far we have came. Yeah. Because even like the hoodie that I'm wearing, we're launching this tomorrow. And
that's sick.
That one's hard.
Yeah, that one's sick.
We're, I dropped our prices to, our training tees are only $20 nowadays. They used to be around the $28, $30 range.
Right.
But I did that so more people could wear our training tees. But this hoodie is going to be $150, and I only made 18 of them.
So sick.
Yeah, so they're exclusive as fuck.
Sick.
You know what I mean? So our price ranges from, anywhere from $10, $15 to like $200. Yeah. So it just depends what kind of support you want to give Iron Bullies. You know what I mean? And I think that that's how brands are really built. You know what I mean? And I think that like I feel like I'm still in the infant stages of building like the empire that I want to build.
For sure, yeah.
And I think I think it's bigger than already, I think it's bigger than a brand already.
Yeah.
It's a community. And like we've
Yeah.
seen, right? Like it's the thing to post a picture at the gym with an Iron Bullies, shirt. We've seen it. Everybody does it around here, right?
Yeah.
But that's what has became, because they understand that you're loyal, you're ambitious, you're getting all these things done, right? And they want to stay with someone who's got those right mindset and is doing it, right?
Yeah.
And it just shows. And I think that's the biggest thing about Iron Bullies and what it resembles.
No, and I appreciate it because, there's certain things that I'm me, so I can't think certain things about myself.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like I wake up being myself. I go to sleep being myself. So, it's only exciting when somebody else approaches it and is like, that's what keeps my fire lit.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like when, just the other day I went to a random gym to train because I just wanted a new atmosphere. And like 5 kids came up to me and they were just like, "Hey, you're so-and-so." And I was just like, "Oh, fuck, dude." Like I just wanted to train, you know what I mean? But you have to stop yourself and acknowledge like, dude, it's a privilege to have this.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And on top of that, like we can do this. It doesn't need to be recorded, but off camera, you can encourage somebody and be like, "Hey man, like I see you, let's say I see you hitting, whatever weight you're hitting, keep it going, man. Like you'll only get better with time." You know what I mean? Or, reach out to so-and-so. They coach, they could teach you about nutrition. Like, so I'm helping the same people that are helping me. And like, that's what I want this community to be about. It's like, of course it's far-fetched to think that everybody thinks the same or that everybody has each other's best interest in mind. But that's definitely one of my biggest goals is like, have my best interest in mind, man. Because I have your best interest in mind. You know what I mean? And if we could be those types of neighbors, imagine where we could live.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because I don't want to be the only rich guy in my circle. I want my boys to be rich.
Everybody eats.
Everybody eats.
So.
And I know you're talking on a much bigger scale, but like just how you were just saying, for us, like when we're just like, we've been to a store a few times and we've had, "Hey, you guys got a podcast?" Or even just this last Saturday at the Fresno State game, we had this dude and he was hammered,
fired
and
up.
he was hammered. And for him to just, and like he was on a mission to go to his suite. He was going right to his suite. Like he had no recollection of looking at us, but he stopped and he was like, "Hey, you guys got a podcast." And for him to do that while he was hammered, I know he wasn't thinking podcast, everything right away. For him to stop and all that, like that fired us up. We're like, damn, like that's awesome. You know what I mean?
Keep going.
Like it makes us feel good. And I can imagine what, having the community that you have, I bet that makes you want to get up every morning. You know what I mean?
Of course, bro. I mean, of course we struggle. You know what I mean? Like I think that it would be dishonest to say like I wake up, motivated every day. It's just like, what am I looking forward to? You know what I mean? Like, what does Edgar want for 2022?
The end goal, right?
You know what I mean? Yeah. Like, what do we want? Like, of course, we want more people to be introduced to the brand because that's the only way to keep it growing. But I also want to be able to take one of my employees that doesn't see his own potential and take him to his next level to be like, "You remember how you were thinking 6 months ago? Yeah, you overcame that."
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So that's a win. That means more than making a $10,000 a day, which we've done before. You know what I mean? And it's one of those things that like, bro, I come from being broke. You know what I mean? I come from getting paid, $30 a day to work my ass off to now, I roll out of bed and I have a few pending orders online that I could simply package. Takes me 5 minutes to put their names on the package, send it out. I already made my day's money if I wanted to live at that level. But that's not where I want to live. I want to be able to employ hundreds, thousands of people if possible.
And those sales, I feel like aren't the things that are satisfying you, right?
Not at all.
Okay.
Yeah, and people get it mistaken. So, even when I talk to people who want to create brands, I'm not going to give you the whole thing because I want you to learn from your own mistakes. But I'm going to give you some gems that you could blossom from and be like, "Fuck, bro, that saved my ass."
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because even just yesterday, I was telling one of my guys, like the first marketing team that I ever hired, I didn't know what I was doing. So I kind of just gave them a bag or what I consider, a lot of money. And but I didn't give them no input because they were just like, oh, we got it, bro. We'll take it from here. We didn't get the results we were looking for, but I learned a lot.
Right.
But imagine if that's your last dime and you're just like, well, you know, you didn't make any sales, but you learned a lot.
Yeah.
Different people are going to perceive that very different. Yeah. So for me, now I take my experience and I tell people, before you go and invest on a marketing team, make sure that you make a fucking list.
Yeah.
What do you want to achieve? And why do you want to achieve it? Because, you know,
that's kind of similar to what we've been talking about, like, you know, because eventually we want to get to a point where we don't have to do the editing. We don't have to do the social media things, all the posts and all this and that. We have a team that does it for us. But he brought it to my attention the other night. He goes, dude, like, how are you going to feel like having someone else edit the podcast when you like, you know, you do all the editing? I'm like, damn, like that's going to be hard. Like if it's not to our standards, if it's not to our liking, then it's not going to work out.
Correct. And the hard pill to swallow is that when you delegate tasks, you have to trust. You know what I mean? Yeah. You have to trust because you'll never grow if you can't do that. Because there's delegating and there's micromanaging. And if you try to micromanage every task, you're not going to get shit done. Imagine me sending Anthony, come sit down, Anthony. Imagine me
making an appearance.
This is Anthony, guys. Surprise guest. Fun fact, me and Anthony went to college together. Like, I think it was like my second year, but it was probably your, third year? You second year? Third year? There you go, man.
Yeah, but the point I was trying to make is imagine me hiring Anthony, sending him out to do a job, and then standing right behind his neck, trying to make sure that he's taking every picture I want him to take. It's no, delegate the task. Trust that they're going to do the best job they could possibly do. And if it's not to your satisfaction, simply communicate. Hey, man, I honestly don't really like how those came out. Can you do it again? It's that easy. Right. You know what I mean? Do you have to cough up more money? Of course, because you're paying for their time. But at the end of the day, invest so you can get the shit you want. You know what I mean? And put out what you want. Don't just half-ass it. Because a lot of people, and I know some of my buddies are guilty of this, and I've been guilty of this, they're under the assumption that taking a picture with their iPhone is the same thing that taking a picture with the A7. And it's definitely not. You know what I mean? Because one, you don't know how to edit. Right. You know what I mean? Like, of course, the quality of an iPhone picture is amazing nowadays. It's outstanding. But it's not, next level shit. So if you want next level shit, invest in next level shit. You know what I mean? And it's not, I'm not making it sound incredibly easy because it's not, but put some thought into that, make it make sense. That way you could win.
For what you're saying, I'm gonna piggyback off. For us, it'd be like, right now we're rocking with this A6400, but I want to get that A7 IV that's coming out in December. For us, it'd be like, okay, we got a month and a half. Like, let's work. Like, let's make that money so then we can get that camera. Like, this shit doesn't happen. Like, he's not saying, hey, you want that? Go get it right now. Yeah. He's saying make it happen. Correct. It doesn't have to be right now. Make it happen in the future. Like in the near future. Because
I don't want people to misinterpret my communication. Because it's not advice. I mean, you could not like me and still watch my shit and learn something. You know what I mean? Right. But what I'm saying is exactly how you interpreted it. Because it's like, no, just make it happen, dude. Because at the end of the day, like, you could easily finesse your money into other shit that didn't get you anywhere. You know what I mean? You bought concert tickets to go watch somebody. Of course, you had fun, but did it do anything for your career? Probably
bring any
not.
Value to you?
Exactly. Probably not. Unless you're going to go advertise your ass off, give out some stickers, let people know about your podcast, about your brand. Then you could legitimately say, no, I went with the intentions of getting a massive crowd at the cost of a $150 ticket. You know what I mean? But like, yes, you got to work. There's no way around the work. Like, Anthony knows this because when he first started with us, I knew his level of skill, and I told him, look, this is where you're at. I'm going to get you this equipment so we could upgrade the output. But at the same time, I'm going to give you constructive criticism on the things that I can see being better. And he didn't take that personal. I mean, he could, did he take it personal?
Hey, turn on your mic real quick. Sorry, forgot to tell you that up top.
Hello?
Yeah,
Hello?
you're
Am I good?
live. Yeah, you're live.
So I will say, like, some of the key things that I've learned from him is like what we're talking about. You want the new camera and all that, so you want to work. Is I feel like a lot of people need to like understand that you need to do the steps that are going to get you from point A to point B, because you can do these steps over here, but not do the needed ones that will get you to
point B.
Yeah, exactly. And it's like once you start to figure that out and be able to like hear advice or criticism from someone who's like I don't like the way that turned out. How about you fix that? It's like on one end, you can kind of like take that like, personal, okay, I made this. Okay, I think this is super good, but you have to understand that like that is based off of your biased thought. It might not be the best way, because if they clearly have an opinion, then it's like either that person's either like a dick just trying to put you down, or they do have your best interest in whatever it may be, as something simple as me taking a picture, or like a complete if I came to him and I was like, hey, I have this huge plan, here's what I want to start, do, and all that, what do you think of it? And it's like, if he says, hey, I would fix this, do that, it's probably in my best like regards to probably listen to it, because I mean, I know on his behalf and all that, he does want me to succeed and all that. So like, why would I not like listen to what he has to tell me?
Yeah, 100%. And that's kind of what that's kind of how we work too. Like in a sense, like we know we have each other's best interests in mind, right? So like, for example, like this College World Series vlog, like there's probably been several nights where we've gotten into it in a sense, for back and forth, not agreeing on something, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But like at the end of the day, we know what we're trying to accomplish.
For sure.
And if we don't, tell each other like, yo, pick up your shit, or like, I mean, we don't tell each other that, but if there was a time that comes to it, like he would tell me like, hey, like pick your shit up, let's go. Yeah. Like start worrying about, put more time towards podcasts. He would tell me that, and I would tell him the same thing.
And I mean, and I think those are true friendships, because you can easily, let's say, throw a pity party or have a fit and take a week off where you're not talking to each other, and then come around and be like, bro, this is stupid. Right. Like we have something good going on. Like, let's continue to work on this, because it's happened with me, with Austin. I remember, years ago, and he could give you his own version. But I remember one time I was getting frustrated because I was the only one posting on social media, building awareness around, the supplements and whatnot. And I was just like, bro, you're lazy, and he didn't take that well. And he started to tell me everything that he does. And I was just like, yes, but you're not listening. You're not listening to understand. You're listening to react. And those are two different things. Yeah. You know what I mean? So it was just like, look, put more effort into these parts and less effort into these, because this is what's going to make you money. This is just getting you attention.
Balance
that's
your
not going to
marbles.
make you exactly. And so, obviously I don't think I'm 100% right, but you have to be uncomfortable with calling each other out in order to see each other grow. Yeah. Because there's even opportunities that I've came across, and I have to challenge myself, because now I'm on the end of being the vulnerable one, like in recent months, I've been working with an influencer that has over 2 million followers. And that's massive. I only have 10,000 followers. So do the math. That's a lot less. Yeah. But the crazy part is that I proved myself to be valuable to this guy. So we can continue to work on our professional relationship and say, hey, let's break bread together, man. Because at the end of the day, I want to see you win. You could be the famous one. Nobody has to know about me. But guess what? My life is improved because I met this person, because we've broken bread together.
Open new doors.
Exactly. And now I get to do it with other people that are influencers, and nobody has to know. Because it's just like, look, I can show you the data. I've worked with people of your size. So if I can make this guy hella bread, imagine what I could do for you.
Yeah.
You know, so because the following doesn't necessarily mean money.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's just attention.
Right.
You know, and sometimes it's the wrong type of attention. It just depends what type of influencer you want to be.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So
Now you mentioned. Sorry, continue.
go ahead. What do you
I was
going
gonna say you mentioned that you have to cut out of here about 11.
You're good, bro.
You were
You're
good. Yeah, we're kind of close right now. That's really all. I was gonna jump in right there.
say. So I noticed you met Mozzie. You guys met
Oh,
Mozzie
yeah.
at
Yes,
Fly
yo.
Shack, huh?
Yeah,
How was that? Because
It was awesome, bro. It was awesome. I actually, I've actually been, you know, not close, but I've been familiar with the Fly Shack for many years.
Yeah.
You know, I've known of the owner for, you know, since he opened it. I've hosted events there with other artists because I used to be involved in music back in the day. And, you know, so when we got there, like, I guess I can say it pays off to know people, you know, because we didn't have to wait in line. We basically went in there, handled our business. And I actually, you know, asked Austin, like, hey, man, just take the gifts to Mozzie yourself. Because, you know, I've known about Mozzie for a long time.
Right.
And, you know, in recent years, Austin became a fan. So it was one of those things where I almost would have preferred for him to have that experience of you know, which he did. He met him first. So I thought that was super cool. We just got in through my connections.
Yeah.
So
That's cool.
to make a long story short, it was awesome because we, you know, the second time around, we wanted to be fair. So we went outside. He announced that his merchandise was on the way. So we wanted to support. So instead of just, you know, waiting inside the store, we waited in line just like everybody else. So when it was our turn to go back in, he was like, oh, you guys are back. And we're just like, yeah, man, we wanted to support you, you know, want to buy some merch. That's too.
Awesome.
And so we had like a genuine moment. And, you know, he even ended up doing push-ups for us.
Yeah, I saw
and I thought that was hilarious because I was like, I was not expecting that.
Right.
You know, I could clearly smell that he had been, you know, on some, you know, on some good.
Yeah.
And so yeah, man. But it was an awesome feeling to say the least because like for me, it's one of those things where I'm constantly like just, you know, I'm a fan, but I'm also like looking for opportunity. So it's like, you know, if at some point we could, you know, build something from that moment, that's what I'm intrigued by.
Yeah,
you
that was
know
cool.
what I mean?
I saw that.
But I am a fan. I love his music.
His music's tight.
You know, ever since I've, you know, learned about it, I became a fan. So yeah, that was awesome.
I'm pretty sure all the viewers heard you piss. By the way, yeah, you should have closed the door.
Was I that loud?
You were that loud,
Dude, you know what it was? I'm gonna tell you exactly.
Like I'm pretty sure everybody heard it.
Oh, I'm
That's what got me. But I closed the door, and I don't think you guys heard me.
Sorry,
but I'm sitting here and we're talking, and I just hear you pissing. So I'm pretty sure they all just got a firsthand experience.
That was a big raw piss. Hey, I piss excellence. Okay, I'm just kidding.
Oh man,
I'm so sorry about that. But no, actually, I have a couple questions about the clothing brand aspect, like behind the scenes. I saw a couple videos. Or do you make these things in your garage? What is
not
that?
me. So I've actually developed a long relationship with one of my high school buddies, and he's the one that helped me with my initial prints. So because of that, I've, you know, basically allowed him to print 90% of my garments just because like he's the one that helped me. So it was just like, look, man, like I give you a lot of money, you know what I mean? So I expect you to work fast. But at the same time, like I've known him for over 15 years, going on 20 years. And, you know, he's just a very knowledgeable guy in regards to the printing process. And even though he's one of those guys that, you know, I love and respect, he's afraid to make that jump to get like a bigger place. So I'm like torn between letting him go or, you know, giving my load to somebody else. So if he watches this, I know he knows this, so I'm not afraid to say it. But it's one of those things where as my brand grows, I have to be able to be okay with moving on.
Yeah.
Because it's like, look, made tons of money off of us. And at the end of the day, we're super grateful for your help, but we have to keep up with the demand.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So, but yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, that's his setup. You know, it's our in-house printing process. And, you know, I think that at some point we'll either merge to where I buy my own print machines, and still, you know, drag them along. But, you know, with him understanding like the reason why I'm doing this is because I need it fast, you know. But yeah, that's, you know, but he allows us to go in there, make our videos and things like that. So it's definitely one of those things where I try to be as transparent as possible. That way people could see like, look, we're not big level hitters, like we're still grinding, you know. So like we appreciate every single customer, especially the ones that aren't afraid to pay full price.
Yeah,
you know.
Yeah.
I'm
sorry. Hang on. I'm just so embarrassed
We'll
right
stop
now.
right here, and then I'm gonna go see if they need anything, and then
Okay.
we'll close out.
Dude,
For sure.
I can't stop. I can't stop laughing. Like I'm nervous to go back right now and hear my. Oh, that's embarrassing. Dude, that's funny. Oh, dude, we're fucking deep in this thing right now.
Yeah. No, today they're actually painting my second shop.
Oh,
So that's why I felt like I needed to at least give you guys a heads up, just out of respect. But
yeah.
I'm not in a rush.
We'll be closing it up soon.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Okay. I'll be like, I'll jump in with the embarrassing part. Are we pretty much done?
Yeah,
Yeah. Okay.
sort of.
Almost. I'm not gonna lie, guys. I'm so sorry. I am really embarrassed right now. I hope you guys didn't really just hear me piss.
I'm pretty sure they did.
Well, dude, I was thinking about it too. I was in there. I was just like, damn, I should have shut the door.
Yeah, I don't know why.
And then
shut the door.
because like I thought you didn't shut the door when you went, and I thought I was gonna be okay. But then when I came back, I thought I was totally in the clear. But the fact that you brought that up really embarrasses me.
Sam a silent assassin, bro. I get it.
I know. I'm sorry, guys. But no, man. Hey, Edgar, man, it was an awesome time talking to you today. You know, you
Likewise.
definitely taught us a lot. That's what we were hoping for too. We were talking about it last night, pretty late.
We wrote down the goal was for you to educate us, and you did that. So
literally, that's what we
Awesome,
have.
man.
It was like have them educate us, and that's exactly what
And
you
beyond that, man, I mean, you know, just having this being our introduction to each other, know that my door's open at any given point. So it's, you know, I'm literally a DM or a text message away from, you know, asking for help, whether it's with where to get your garments from to whatever, you know what I mean? Because I said, I try to give out a lot of info, but at the same time, you know, sometimes it's better for you to learn on your own. That way, you know, you actually go out and become resourceful for yourself.
Yeah. And I feel like, because we talked about it again, you know, this next year I want to adapt a more healthy lifestyle, better sleep. You know, I want to get in the gym more. I want to eat cleaner. All this and that. I want to start taking supplements. I want to start, you know, doing everything that I need to do. And I'll definitely be reaching out to you, either one of you two. You know, you guys are, I see both your guys' stuff all over the place.
Yeah.
So I'll definitely be reaching out for you for that. And so should everyone else, man. You know, he's here. You guys heard his whole spiel today. I mean, guys, look what this guy's done, man. Look at everything that he's brought us today. He was the most prepared guest I think we've had so far. Like he showed up. I mean, man, this is a good one, man. This is a really good one. And I'm super thankful for you.
Yeah,
Super
definitely thankful to have you on. I mean, you're passionate, determined, ambitious, everything, man. And it's awesome to have you come here and speak what you got. And again, thank you.
For sure. I appreciate you guys.
Yeah, I'm gonna leave out, I'm gonna leave out one question.
Yeah.
How is someone supposed to feel when they wear Iron Bullies?
Man, I think determined, you know, I think determined is the word that I would like to use, because it's, you know, what's the task at hand? Let's tackle it. You know what I mean? Don't leave any stones unturned, because at the end of the day, every day is an opportunity to get shit done. And, you know, that's how I got here. You know, there's different aspects of life that I've been more focused on nowadays. But that's my message to the audience. It's, you know, be determined, because, you know, you only get one life, one opportunity every day. And no matter who says it, whoever you need to hear it to find the encouragement or inspiration to get it done, just get it done and wear some Iron Bullies while you're at it.
There you go, man.
Where can they find you at?
So on Instagram, that's our biggest platform, at official_iron.bullies.
Yeah, we'll make sure to put it in the description.
And then, we recently jumped on TikTok. I'm still learning. I'm old, so
we're still trying to figure that out.
We're trying to figure that out.
Same.
We have very minimal content on YouTube, so we're trying to get back on track with that. But other than that, man, I'm always on there. You might end up being tired of my face being on the camera all the time, but I'm a big believer in social media and a big believer in marketing yourself. And you only get better as you practice it. So, that's that.
Yep.
Yeah. 100%. Anthony, man, what's up over there?
Nothing much and all that.
Where can they find these photos, man? I see they probably saw you taking these photos.
They will be posted on the official Iron Bullies in Instagram too. And if I do have to say one thing that on my personal belief that I believe that like how should people feel when they wear in the brand is based off of my I want to say 4 months working now. I would say, and then keep in mind, my best friend, shout out to Prob. He is, he works for the shop too, and all that. I would say that the community that he has built just by this brand and all that, it does not matter if you're like a competitor or if you're someone like you. You would say, hey, okay, in the new year, I want to start up and do all that. It's like the word you used, uplifting, is truly, I would say, in the word that kind of, to me at least, and describes in the whole thing. Like, you walk into that shop, if you're not the biggest, the smallest, okay, need to lose weight, gain weight, and all that. You compare that atmosphere when you walk into there versus like a GNC, a vitamin shop. I mean, I personally have never been to a Flex factory, but like I've heard just some things about him. Okay, it's not like putting them down, but just in comparison to what he really has built within this little atmosphere is like it truly is uplifting, and people do like to kind of go through there because there is no judgment to you at the end of the day, whether you are competing or just a normal person trying to look good. It's all respect across in the board.
That's awesome.
Yeah,
that's the best way to put it. There's no judgment. There shouldn't be, right?
That's awesome, man. Well, guys, that was episode 24. Thank you guys for tuning in and listening to Guys Being Dudes. You can find us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and of course, if you're a visual learner, then YouTube. Like he said, hey, social media is a big deal. Guys Being Dudes, Iron Bullies, we're all on Instagram, Twitter, YouTube, everywhere, man. Facebook, you find both of our links will be down below. Yeah, Facebook as well. Everything will be down below, guys, to find everything you need. The Iron Bully shop, their Instagram, their YouTube, everything, guys. But guys, like I said, RJB signing off.
And I'm Luke. And yeah, guys, make sure you guys go like, comment, subscribe. But best way, tell a friend. But hey, let's be part of the GBD community. Let's be part of the Iron Bully community after this episode. All right. You guys have a great one. I'm Luke. I'm out.